you have trouble communicating clearly? Are you drowning in clutter? If so, you are in the right place. At Clarity Corner with Christiana, we peel back the layers that are clouding your ability to see and show you ways you can reclaim your life and your communication. It's not what you know, it's what you implement that makes all the difference. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Clarity Corner with Christiana. I'm super excited about today's show. How many of you have ever had that sense of overwhelm, like you have way too many balls in the air, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Has that ever happened to you? Today, I'm going to cover 2 tools that you're going to be able to use that will keep your mind clear. Because the challenge is we think that if we have all these balls in the air, somehow we're magically going to keep them going. And we'll say, oh, I'll get to that later. Then when you start putting things off, and then your brain will forget about them. And then you miss deadlines and you risk your reputation. You risk missing things. I mean, it really it lowers your credibility and it raises your stress, your anxiety. It often causes panic. If you've ever had that, like, oh crap, did I do that thing? I know I've had that experience. Have you had that experience, Bobby?
Oh, yes. And for a blueprint that does everything in orders, it doesn't, you can't pick and choose and do things. You have to, the stack just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's got to be done in that order.
Exactly. Right. And it's almost like, have you ever had the feeling like your to-do list grows bigger than you actually checking it off? It's like you keep checking items off, but it keeps getting bigger anyway.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, here's the good and bad news. When you die, your to-do list will still be there. So it's not a game you can actually win. It's kind of like, what is it? It's like that game Tetris, right? Where you have to keep knocking levels down before you reach the ceiling. That's what we're doing here when it comes to keeping your mind clear. And if you implement these 2 tools, I have seen people transform their business, their productivity. Oh my God, their ability to handle. Have you ever had moments where you have a compulsion, or maybe you sabotage yourself, or you get off track and you have no idea why, but it's not the first time it's happened? If you've had that, this is going to address that. So it's very exciting. But before we get started, I just want to say, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at facebook.com/The Clarity Strategist. The Clarity Strategist. So you can go there. You can catch up on any past shows. I'm going to be shifting this platform to podcasting instead of being here in the radio station. So I will keep you posted there, and you can follow me. If you want to check out my website to get more information on what's going on, events and things, you can go to claritymapping.com, CLARITY mapping, MAPPING.com. If you go there, you'll be able to keep in touch with me there as well. So I'm very excited about this tool today, but let's first talk about the problem. Have you ever had, and I know that it's a running joke, have you ever had multiple tabs open on your computer? Like upwards of 20, maybe 30? If you have the more you have open, or maybe you have multiple programs open on your computer. Have you ever had that happen to you? If you have,
both of us.
Both of you, perfect. Well, what's beautiful about that is the more that you have open, the slower the computer works, the more it starts adding time to you getting anything done.
Again, both of us.
So, exactly. So I love this. And that's why it's so important to implement these 2 tools. So the first tool is, all that stuff that you have lingering around, and you may have it written down or you may not, but everything that is taking up space, like an open tab in the computer, what I want you to do is to get a book, or if you're a physical person, just get a book that you can keep everything in. And if you're online, you can see I have my book here. I'm holding it up, just a little brown journal, not too big. And then if you are a digital person, you can have a document on your computer. You could even use a program like To-Do-List and Outlook or something like that. But what I want you to do is I want you to have a space where you can dump your brain. So what we are going to do is every time you write something down, you close a tab on your computer, which will free up more mental space so you can actually use your mind for what it was created for, like creativity. So that's what we're here to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a list And it could be your to-do list, but it could be like, oh, return that phone call, send that letter, buy that gift. And it could be like even something as random as like, I'm still mad at Bobby who punched me in the third grade. Name, I just said you
Oh,
because you were there. But
get stared at me, so why
yeah,
not?
no. But right, it could even be something like that, which is just something you're holding on to. The whole point is whatever it is that you're holding on to, whether it's a to-do or whatever it is, just get it out of your head and write it down on the list. And then what you can do is you can then have a look at this list and give yourself a good 10-minute magic, as we talk about. That's one of the tools that I love the most. Set the timer for 10 minutes and do this and just write everything that you have open, every possible action you could be taking, or anything that's an open tab in the computer of your brain. And then what we're going to do is you're going to then go through and anything that's like completely unnecessary, that's just like, oh, I really don't need to be doing that. That's just taking up space. You're going to just cross it off and decommit from it. Just, I don't need to do that anymore. Like reduce your list as much as possible. Then what you're going to do is, and this is where the order comes in for you, Bobby, is you're going to highlight the things that are must do's. Like there are consequences, like not getting your taxes done on time or not paying your property taxes by a certain day, or right, there's certain things that have consequences. So those get to go to the immediate list. So they get to jump out of the lineup because those are immediate. They're going to cause problems. And then once you do those, then you can go back to your list.
I have a few late fees as a result of my task checking off style.
Exactly. So again, then those would be must do's, right? Or you could set up an automatic payment. So then that way you don't have to do it every month. So it really, you can look at it. Is this something that's a repetitive task? What can I automate with it? But really the whole point is I want you to focus on clearing your mind. And the only way to clear your mind is to empty it. We cannot put anything in a full cup. And I always like the story. This is one of my favorite stories about the two monks. There's the old monk and the young monk. And he's so excited to mentor with the old monk. He's been waiting for like this opportunity for a really long time. And when he finally gets to go to the old monk's house to become his apprentice, he gets so excited and knocks at the door. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I mean, I've been studying everything that you've been doing. And he just does not stop talking. And the older monk says, would you like a cup of tea? And the young man says, yes, I'd love a cup of tea. So he says, have a seat. So he goes through his ritual of making the tea and very slowly doing his process. And then he goes to pour. He puts out two saucers, and then he puts out two cups. And then he starts pouring from the teapot into the cup of the young monk. And as he's pouring, it fills up, 3/4. Now it's at the top. Now it's spilling over onto the saucer. And then the saucer splashes onto him, onto his pants. And he goes, what are you doing? The cup is already full. And he said, exactly. How can I teach you anything if you're already full?
Wow.
Right. So again, I mean, you have other businesses that you're doing, right? So you have open cycles for all of everything in that business. For you're running your life, you're running the studio, you're running other things. And it's like all those things take up space in your brain. If you can get them out and get them down on paper, now we can do something with it. Now you have space to actually say, ooh, now there's something I like to teach called micro macro. So micro is if you're the employee and something goes wrong in your job, it feels like the end of the world. But if you are the CEO and something goes wrong in that employee's job, is it the end of the world?
No.
No, it's like you have so much distance from it because that's not your job. That's one of many things. And okay, it might be an irritation, but it's not the end of the world. And again, when you get that distance from it, when you put it on paper, you create that distance because when it's in your brain, everything feels equally important. You don't have a distinction. Once you get it on paper, all of a sudden you can start seeing what is important and what isn't important. And now you have perspective and now you have clarity and now it reduces the charge so you can take a look and start handling things. So that is, now don't underestimate its simplicity. Make this a practice. Like anytime you start feeling, that tension, when tension starts building, like, oh, I'm under pressure, take a moment, keep going in the book or in the document that you have on digital, and keep emptying your brain and use this as a regular way. I mean, we use a broom to sweep our house to get the dust out. What do we do to clear our brains, to get all the clutter out of our brain? This is that tool. This is the broom for your brain. You're going to just dump it down in one area, one place, so you never lose it. right? As a blueprint, it's very safe. It's in one place. You're not going to forget about it. But that way you can go through and handle it. And then for those that like the checking off the list and feeling like you got a lot done, you can go back and look at everything that got accomplished and be like, The other thing is, so we're going to cross off anything that we don't need to be doing that's just clutter. What we're also going to do is we're going to highlight anything that's a must do. So it's really important. You're going to highlight anything that's a must do that will have a consequence if you don't do it. Like you get new clients coming in, but you don't have a calendar system set up. Okay, well, that's not going to work. So you need to set up your calendar system. Otherwise, you're going to spend all this time getting leads, but you're not going to have anywhere for them to book. Okay, that could be a problem. Or maybe you don't have an autoresponder series, so you get a client in, but now you have to manually write an email every single time instead of figuring out what is this autoresponder series that they could go in, and then you could then just customize little pieces if you wanted to. So those are the different kinds of things that you could be doing, but you don't even have the space to think about something like that, about working on your business while your head is full. So this is the big thing. So again, everything that's a must do. And then if you can, for the things that are remaining, if you can put it on the calendar and give it a home on your calendar, all of a sudden, all the charge goes away from it. So those are the things that you can do. You don't have to do them all, but again, you have one space where you're dealing with Mount Everest, right? You're dealing with it's almost like gremlins, right? You pour water on it, you get like 6 more. So that's to-do lists. That's just exactly how open cycles work. They just multiply. You cut the head off one, sometimes it blows up into other things. Or you say, my favorite is, I'm going to buy this product and they're going to give me all these bonuses if I buy this product. Well, all those bonuses are open cycles of things you now haven't done. And it's like, I wanted to take this online webinar. I booked an hour, but it's got 2 hours of homework and it's actually a 40-hour program. Well, I only booked an hour. Well, now I'm already behind in my life. So those are like big things. They go, it's a free webinar. It's never free. They're always selling you something. They want to put a butt in a seat. But know that it's not just booking time for, it's only 4 weeks, 1 hour a week. It's not. You have to look at, and Anita taught me this because I was just like, I'll put in the 4 hours. And I was always behind, which is how much time do you have to have for implementation? How much time do you have to have for study and research? How much time do you need for follow-up, for actually taking actions of what they're having you do? So again, all of those things need to be thought about because they become open cycles. And most people don't write all those pieces down, and then their computer slows down. So that is my favorite, biggest thing. So what we're going to do, I actually have a special guest coming up. This is the happiest person on the planet and someone I am very, very fond of. So please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Want more out of your doctor's visit than a quick conversation with the doc with limited time? Dr. Jaggers-Keene is the one-stop doc who treats you like family. From broken bones to slips and falls, he has you covered along with annual exams. This physician provides VIP concierge treatment at no extra cost. Dr. Keene offers comfort in a setting that provides answers. His new Largo family practice is accepting new patients. Fluent in Spanish, he offers telemedicine too. Go to mychoicehealthcare.org or call 727-732-3969 for your appointment today.
Are you hoping to grow your business but not sure how? Has your business flattened out? It may be your messaging. This is Maureen Famiana with MEF Media. I've been in the TV broadcasting business for more than 30 years, and I enjoy helping businesses and entrepreneurs go to the next level. It's about strategy and branding, finding the right story to tell, and then getting media exposure. I'm here to help you grow your business. Find me on Facebook or my website at MEF Media, and let's launch your next chapter today.
A few years ago, my skin was a mess. It was dry, lifeless, and aging fast. My busy travel schedule teaching yoga across the world was really catching up on me. I tried everything I could find, and it just got worse. So I created my own product based on 100% natural ingredients, and what a difference. Now my skin is glowing and radiant, and I look and feel 10 years younger. The serum I used is called F3. It's our best seller, and I've created a whole range of products to suit all skin types. So if you want actual results using 100% natural skincare, visit formulaflawless.com.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to Clarity Corner with Christiana. I am very excited to have this person in the room with me today. This is someone that's very near and dear to my heart, and actually the reason that I exist on this planet. Oh, hold on, I'll take care of that. And this person is my mother. So please welcome Lois Carter.
Hi.
So I'm really excited to have you here because you are somebody who you have the key to happiness.
Well, I think I do.
You think you do. So what would you say? Because you're like the happiest, kindest person I've ever met.
Well, the thing is, way back when I was in school, just coming into, my first, well, maybe the last 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
I had a man who said to me, "You can be one of two. You can be one of two things. You can be happy, or you can be unhappy."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that doesn't sound very good. I think I'll be happy. So I chose happy. Well, oddly enough, I've been happy ever since. And there are times when I'm unhappy, but it doesn't last long. I just don't spend a lot of time being unhappy. I see all the positive things that make me happy. And so that's how I do it.
Well, you know what I love, and I witnessed this firsthand because we drove last summer. We drove from here up to New Hampshire, and we stayed on the way back. A huge storm was coming in, and we had to get off, but every hotel was full. And we finally found like a Red Lion that was super run down, and there was only like maybe 1 or 2 rooms left, and we made it in just before the storm hit. And it wasn't very nice, and neither one of us slept pretty much a wink because it wasn't a very comfortable room. And you said in the morning you didn't like the room. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember negatives.
Well, and just so full disclosure, my mother has dementia, so you wouldn't really know it if I didn't point it out to you. But you may see it a little bit if she has a squirrel moment. But so basically, what you did the next morning. Oh yes, sorry. So maybe what we did the next morning is, we got in the car and we're driving. And in the morning, before we even got in the car, you said, "Oh, this wasn't a very nice place. I didn't sleep very well." And I said, "Wow, that's coming out of my mom. That's unusual." And then as we got on the road, about an hour later on the road, you said, "Oh my God, wasn't that place great?" And I'm thinking, okay, is this a dementia moment? Like, what is this? And you said, "No, you know what? We needed a place to get off the road. And we found a room that was good. And it was dry. That was good. And it was easy to get in and out of. That was good." And she only remembered the good things. She systematically deleted everything that was negative about the experience. And I said, "Is this dementia?" And she goes, "No, I'm just choosing to only remember the good things."
Right. You can always remember the bad stuff if you want to, but it doesn't do you any good.
Exactly. And what we want to be able to do is, it doesn't mean that something bad isn't happening to you. It's not like blindly, "Oh, I'm going to be happy, avoid negative vibes." It's not that.
Well, it's, in a way, there's things that you can do. You can do nice things for people. That makes you happy. You can say nice things about the ladies who are all dressed up in their pretty outfits and so forth. You can say nice things to people whose children are well behaved.
Mm-hmm.
You can say nice things to almost everybody. There's something you can find to remark about. And I do that. And obviously it really rings a bell with me. I like it. I like being positive. I like making good talk. When I talk to people, I'm seeing things that are good. The ladies that I see come all dressed in pretty clothes and everything, and I tell them how great they look and everything, and it's amazing.
So you're not just a happy person, you're a happiness generator.
Well, I think I like to have everybody feel happy. They should be feeling very good about everything, because life is good. And the fact that we get a chance to live it makes it even better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this is your first time in a radio studio, isn't it?
It certainly is.
How cool is that for a good, happy moment?
That's really different.
And you have a very cute producer who's like,
oh yeah, he's
smiling
adorable.
at you the whole time.
Yeah, he's adorable.
I know, right? He's so cute.
I bet your mother thinks you're super.
Yes, yes, she does.
So actually, I even want to talk about too. I remember in 2015, you were having a hard time breathing. You couldn't walk very far. You were getting winded very quickly, and it was really challenging. And my mother has always been this happy person. And we found out that she had a widow's maker. So she had a 90% blockage in her heart. And that we were at Largo Med and they were like, okay, we're going to send you home. And I'm like, she's not leaving. I don't know what you're talking about, but she's not leaving because I know how long it takes to get a doctor's appointment around here. And so I said, no, she's just, who would you have work on you? And he said, well, there's only one doctor I recommend. I go, great, call him. She has great insurance. It'll cover it. So we meet the doctor and she says, do you know what you're doing? And he goes, I'll read the book tonight. And my mom goes, oh, that's good. And she goes, I think this is going to be an adventure. I've never had a bypass before. And he couldn't believe that she was so happy. We were giggling. We were reading a joke book because I had heard that if you laugh, it like helps with your healing and recovery. So I brought a joke book with her, and it was the funniest thing because we were just cracking jokes the whole time. And he's like, am I in the wrong room? And I go, oh, do you need her pitiful face? I go, make a pitiful face and show him.
There you go.
She does a pitiful face really good. But again, I said, well, why are you happy? You're getting a bypass. And she said, well, I have the best doctor I could be getting. And I didn't have to go home. And you're here and you're managing all of it for me. And all the nurses have been incredibly nice. And this gentleman's incredibly nice. And when he showed up for the surgery the next morning, do you remember what you said to him?
What did I say?
You say, did you read the book? And he goes, no, but I looked at the pictures. I think I got it. And my mom goes, perfect, let's go.
Wow.
You just you don't dwell on things that aren't happy. You dwell on the positive things. And I like positivity.
Even in negative circumstances, there's always a choice. There's always something good and there's always something negative that you could find. But again, it's where are you looking and what are you looking for? And
I look for the good stuff.
You do?
Excuse me, I'm sorry to yawn through all this.
That's okay. Am I putting you to sleep?
No, I just haven't had a lot of rest lately.
I know. My mom moved into this new, I mentioned it before, she moved into this new memory care place, Seasons Bel Air. They're fabulous there. And they keep her busy all day long. You've gotten so much stronger since you've been there.
Yeah, I have to go to exercise class twice a day.
But that's good.
It's a positive,
really
yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead and work with me. I'll fix ya.
But you know what's beautiful is everywhere she goes, even when my mom was in rehab and we went through COVID and all of this stuff, you still found something to be happy about. Every nurse at her rehab place that she was at for 60 days, we wrote a letter for everybody. And I'll see if I can find that letter. It's just absolutely beautiful. But what would you say to somebody who's really struggling with something right now?
I would say, God gives us problems and we have to solve them, but you don't have to be unhappy about it. You can be happy and all of a sudden the solutions come to you.
Well, I love that. And let me just tell you who my mother is. So we were leaving a rehab facility and we were there for 60 days and a little over actually. And you said, I'd like to thank you for your kindness to me. I truly appreciate it. And I appreciate you. You've been so good to me. I want to tell you, good things are going to happen to you today and every day, but you have to pay attention or you'll miss them. And if you write them down and you get to feeling as if things aren't going your way, you'll have a book of all good things happening for you. Watch out for each other and enjoy what you have. Remember, God is very good to you, but sometimes we forget. Hugs and kisses, Lois Carter.
I said that?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
But again, everybody, they were so floored. They hung that up because they had never gotten a letter like that from a patient who had been there. And it was so sad that I went there the day after and the nurses were like, we can already feel she's not here. Like she uplifted everyone with a smile, a compliment. So what would you say is if you're in a bad mood, what would be the fastest way to get out of a bad mood?
Find someone to give some positivity to.
Oh, okay. So start with Bobby, for example.
Well, I would find out, what's your fun thing you like to do, and I would like to find out how your job's going and everything. And if
Very
it's
well.
not doing very well, then I can say, well, sometimes it's a challenge and you have to kind of take a look at it and then grab it by the throat and handle it,
That's the truth. That's what gets me up and
Oh, yeah.
and doing it every day.
Yeah.
So there you go. You found it.
I didn't lose it.
Oh no! I mean, you
For
found
him,
my answer.
I just couldn't resist
I know.
that.
She
Yeah.
and her twin sister had a wicked sense of humor. My goodness. So again, it's like there was somebody that I wanted to come on. I don't know if she can actually be here because she is probably one of the hardest working people I've ever met. And her name is Anne Marie Ricks. And she has a company called Improve Living. And when your twin sister passed, my mother and her twin sister actually didn't have separate identities. Well, I think maybe her sister did because she was Blueprint, but not my mother. My mother had only an identity with the
Right.
two of them. And so when Lucy passed, you lost your rudder.
For a little while.
Yeah. And she didn't quite know how to even live life. She was just like a baby all over again. She just kind of crumbled. And Anne Marie, oh, it's outside. You're going to have to wait.
Okay.
She was asking where her drink is. So anyway, she crumbled. She couldn't function for herself. And so we found Anne Marie, and Anne Marie flew up, picked her up, and then and the dogs are outside. Anyway, she picked her up, and actually she lived with my mother for 2 months and taught you how to function again. And a lot of the things you do now are things that she taught you.
Oh, yes.
And
She was great.
absolutely. And she became very, oh, look at this.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
See, look at that. Kindness pays. She just got her drink brought to her. You're a princess everywhere you go. How is that possible?
I'm not gonna say and wreck it.
I like that one.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, it really comes down to you always have a choice in any moment.
That's
you can
right.
choose negative or you can choose to
Positive.
be happy. And you it's almost like if you got a piece of paper and you rolled the piece of paper up and you were looking through it like a telescope, you can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you're focusing on problems, you're a good person. You're going to find a lot of problems because you want to succeed. But if you're looking for good things, you're going to find a lot of those too because you want to succeed. So
That's right.
if you just have a look at your life, I would say, don't do that. Have a look at your life and because it echoes. Have a look at your life. And if you have more problems than you have good things, just notice that's simply where you've been placing your attention. And whatever you focus on will expand. You'll get more of it. So that's why my mother is so happy. Now, my mother has dementia, but because she's
Sure.
been happy, because you've been happy for
Yeah.
so long and you've made this a choice, what happens, let's give you a little bit of understanding before we had to break. So what happens is your brain is like a bunch of cells. And between the cells, if you think there's like threads and there are little extra charges. So they're the neural pathways in our brain. And so the first time you go down one, it's a very thin thread. But if you choose it a second time and a third time and a fourth time, what will happen is the thread will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So what happen is that's going to become more like the pathway that gets used. The bigger the pathway, the more you're going to use it. So what happens is if you're already in that negative pattern, you've just been spending too much time in negative. And if you like the results, keep doing it. I'm not here to change you. But if you want different results and you want better relationships, then what you have to do is jump the train and do something opposite. And what's going to happen is you're going to have to make a choice for a short period of time, maybe like a month or so, just every day choose. And what I did with one of my clients is I had them write in a journal every time they were upset or they had an upset or they were a problem, and they wrote it down. And then I said, what could be an opposite choice in that moment? And so she used it as a tool, like, oh, I'm angry at so-and-so for this. And I said, okay, what's an opposite? And she said, oh, maybe I could see one thing that they're doing and compliment them. So again, this is just another way to keep your mind clear. That's what happens in this situation. It's like when you're happy, you're more happy. So I'm going to leave you with this, and then we're going to head to break, and then we're going to come back, and my mom will stay here. But Paramahansa Yogananda said, if you want to be sad, no one in the world can make you happy. But if you make up your mind to be happy, no one and nothing on earth can take that happiness from you.
And you're right.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Right.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
A few years ago, my skin was a mess. It was dry, lifeless, and aging fast. My busy travel schedule teaching yoga across the world was really catching up on me. I tried everything I could find, and it just got worse. So I created my own product based on 100% natural ingredients, and what a difference. Now my skin is glowing and radiant, and I look and feel 10 years younger. The serum I used is called F3. It's our best seller, and I've created a whole range of products to suit all skin types. So if you want actual results using 100% natural skincare, visit formulaflawless.com.
Want more out of your doctor's visit than a quick conversation with the doc with limited time? Dr. Jaggers-Keene is the one-stop doc who treats you like family. From broken bones to slips and falls, he has you covered along with annual exams. This physician provides VIP concierge treatment at no extra cost. Dr. Keene offers comfort in a setting that provides answers. His new Largo family practice is accepting new patients. Fluent in Spanish, he offers telemedicine too. Go to mychoicehealthcare.org or call 727-732-3969 for your appointment today.
Are you hoping to grow your business but not sure how? Has your business flattened out? It may be your messaging. This is Maureen Famiana with MEF Media. I've been in the TV broadcasting business for more than 30 years, and I enjoy helping businesses and entrepreneurs go to the next level. It's about strategy and branding, finding the right story to tell, and then getting media exposure. I'm here to help you grow your business. Find me on Facebook or my website at MEF Media, and let's launch your next chapter today.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to Clarity Corner with Christiana. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I'm super excited to have you here. My mom is my special guest in the studio. You're actually my only in-studio guest.
Yeah, that's what being a mother, it helps.
Oh, is it? You're so
Yeah.
good. Well, you know what? I've learned a lot. I have to tell you, I have spent, I can't even count, over $100,000 in personal development, doing everything from, God, I have spent my world in personal development. You raised me in Amway. Do you remember that? Going to the
yes.
dream weekends.
Oh, sure.
And I would sit there. I was 8. I don't know why you didn't bring Charlie, but you brought me for some reason. And I would sit there and they would say, come up with your dream. What do you want to do? And I'd be like, oh, and I'd write all this stuff. I was completely ruined for like a real job. It was terrible. But they instilled entrepreneurship at a very young age. But we always had that sense of you just get to make up your own mind. Right?
Right.
You have to make a decision about the kind of life you want to live. And so it's after spending all that money in personal development, what I realized in moving back here and helping take care of you after Lucy died is that you have been living that for years. And I always would say, oh my God, why aren't you mad? That person, like somebody could walk up to you and say, you're fat, you're ugly, and I hate you. And what would your first response be? I'll tell you what it used to be in the past. Let's see if it's changed.
Well, I would say, that's tough. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, in Los Angeles, she said, oh, sweetheart, what happened to you that would make you say such a thing? Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I said that too.
Most answers would be something I can't have you say on the radio.
Exactly. But my mother just doesn't see it. We went to England in 2003 and there was an anti-Bush rally going on, right? So there were protesters for Bush. We reek of being American. And we get off the train and we decide we're going to go to Bath. We're going to go to Bath and we're going to stay in a little bed and breakfast there. And we get on the train. So we get on the train. Sorry, we're not get off the train. We get on the train and there's no 2 seats together. They're all like picnic table kind of things. And there's no 2 seats together, but there's this one gentleman who looks at me with the nastiest stank face, like, you stinky American. I mean, as mean as he could muster up, like just look me up and down like I was nothing. And my mother did not catch that look. And there were the only two seats were opposite him at his little picnic table area. And I said, well, let's sit here. And I put you in. I don't know if you remember this. I put you in and I said, I think I'm going to go get a cocoa. Would you like a cocoa? And you said, I'll come with you. I said, no. You stay here. You stay. I'll get you a cocoa. And you look at the man and you say, isn't she just the best? and you said, I'll just sit down. And I looked at the man and I just said, good luck. And I walked away. And I was gone for a while because there was a line. When I come back, you and that gentleman were like, talking back and forth like two little, there was nonstop communication. He was laughing, joking. I mean, there was not one shred of meanness in there. And he actually enjoyed hanging out with us on the train so much that the train started moving and he had to jump off a moving train because he didn't want to get off the train because he enjoyed us so much. And he said, I've never had so much fun on the train. And in my little state of mind back then, would have been, if you don't have stank face, maybe it would happen more often. But, my mother would never do that.
Of
and
course
she was
not.
just like, wasn't he wonderful? Like never even saw the other.
I didn't pay attention. You can't pay attention to negativity. You have to look for the good things. And
there's so much negativity out there now. Everyone's mad, all these different things. Oh, you're either you're a Trump person or a Biden person. Oh, now there's a lot of negativity on that. There's a lot of, are you vaxxed? Are you not vaxxed? I mean, just everyone's so charged up. And it's like, how do you handle that?
How do I handle it?
Yeah, if someone came out.
That's their problem, not mine. I am happy. I don't have to dwell with that. And I don't deal with it because it isn't necessary. It isn't necessary to me having a good life. And it isn't necessary for me to help them feel better about it themselves because they're talking down.
Back to what Paramasana Yogananda says, which is if you want to be sad, no one in the world can make you happy. So people have a right to suffer and you have a right to suffer with them not.
I don't. Life is so good for me and I'm enjoying it. Believe me, there are times when I'm not happy, but it's only just in passing and I get back to happy fast.
Yeah. And, it's really exciting too, because you just have this set point. I remember you were saying one time you were pretty much home with watching Charlie's dog when he was kind of going to work. And you just said, you didn't really do much. You had a couple of days of daycare, but pretty much you were just sitting at home most of the time. And you said, you know what? I realized there's so many ads on TV and I don't have any of those illnesses, all the commercials for whatever. And so people would get on that and get down about themselves. And she's like, I just realized I'm pretty healthy. This is amazing.
Right. I didn't dwell on stuff like that. You can if you want to, but I don't see any point in it myself. I want to be happy. I want to be, and the nice thing about that being happy is it gives you an opportunity to be really nice to people because that makes you happy, but that makes them happy too.
So what happens is you actually uplift each other instead of pulling, because an unhappy person wants someone misery loves company, right? So they're trying to make everyone around them miserable, but my mom will just pay them a compliment, be really kind to them, and then move on if they choose not to join. But if they choose to join her and be happy, all of a sudden she'll sit and chat with them for
bosom buddies.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, most people want to be uplifted. They don't like being down in the dumps and whatnot. Nosy, I had to see who that was.
Lola's back.
She's enjoying listening
with
to
two
you.
little nosies following her.
Yeah, her little puppies. But again, you get to choose. And it doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen to you. Bad things happen. It's life, right?
They happen to me too.
Right. But what you do is you say, well, I remember I had to, we were in Dr. Keene's office and you had a problem where you just had bleeding and all of a sudden we're like, what? Like, I don't know how to handle that. And my mom goes, isn't this great? And I'm like, we're in the ER. And I do all these Facebook lives with my mom about this subject. And she has a whole following of people that not only follow this, but share what she's doing. And she did right by, she doesn't even sound like she has dementia. right? Not at all. Because she only focuses, I can't tell you, this attitude of hers, she has fallen. She's gotten like a baseball size egg on her head. Most people would like have, I don't know, bleeding on the brain or whatever. She goes, it's going to be a great day. Like, so we went in the hospital and I'm like, Mom, we did a video because I couldn't control it with the Facebook Live, but we did a video. And she goes, I knew it was going to be a great day. I'm like, you're sitting in the ER. And she's like, yeah, but that happened and you were there and we were in the doctor's office. If that happened at home, I wouldn't have known what to do. Like how perfect that you were
Right.
there. And I was like, oh, thanks. Happy I could be there. But seriously, it's like, and then every person that came in, and this is right after COVID, right in the beginning of 2021. And the nurses and the doctors were so downtrodden from all the people with COVID. And it was a very depressive energy in the ER. And every person came in and you would just pay them a compliment and lift them up. And then all of a sudden people said, oh my God, I'm just going to take my break in Lois's room.
I didn't hear that.
But it's because you always make them feel better.
Well, it's cruel to make people feel bad. And I don't do cruel things. I do good things and uplifting things. And I think you're a great guy, I'll tell you. I think you are truly a great guy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I think you've got a long, happy life ahead of you. But remember, look for the good stuff. Because believe me, there's plenty of bad stuff out there.
Nice. Seen that.
Good.
Well, also, if you're focusing on the good stuff, people who want to be negative or bad or depressed, they're not going to even want to be around you because you're too happy, right? They're just not going to vibe with who you are and they're just going to go in the other direction for the most part.
Or they want to knock you off. You're happy.
Yeah. But again, nobody, and again, same thing with what he said, but if you make up your mind, so again, it's the decision. If you make up your mind to be happy, no one and nothing on earth can take that from you.
And that's what I've made up my mind to be. I did it when I was, I think, 8th grade or, I was in high school, but maybe early high school. And I just have been happy ever since. Life is good.
Yeah.
And if you go around thinking life isn't going to be good, you're going to have a lousy time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and also if you're if you're listening right now and you're in a bad space, we all have that. I mean, I just came off of a very tough first quarter. But what's really important is if you want to pull yourself out, a tip that you can have is validate any improvement. Hey, oh my gosh, you know what? I got a coffee today. That's a great thing. You know what? My daughter showed up to take me to the doctor's office.
I'll tell you, and she looks great, this girl. I think that she is such a sharp cookie. I'll tell you, I can't believe that she's my kid.
I'll keep her around.
I will tell you how uplifting these iced coffees are.
Aren't they great?
They are great.
But again, you just start listing everything that's going well. And it doesn't, and here's the trick. It's not the quality of what's good. It could be, hey, I woke up and I'm breathing today. Oh my gosh, you know what? I can walk to the bathroom. Hey, you know what? I brushed my teeth. Hey, you know what? I drank a glass of water. Hey, you know what? And you start validating any improvement. And what will happen is we want to flood your mind, right? Because we're creating that neural pathway. Remember, I talked about the neural pathways. The more you go down it, the bigger it gets. So you want to flood that neural pathway with good things. And it doesn't even matter the quality of it, just the quantity, because we want to grow that pathway as quickly as possible. And if you do that for just 5 minutes a day for a week, I challenge you, your life will shift. Don't believe me? Take me up on it.
Doesn't hurt to be positive. And it helps you get through the tough parts. Because believe me, you're going to have the tough parts too, believe me. But it will help you make the decision on how to handle it.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. So let me give them one more tool. I promised them 2 tools today. So the second tool for clearing your mind. So first of all, we actually decided, first is we talked about open cycles, making a list of everything. And then with my mom, it's really just make a decision, make up your mind to be happy, no matter what. It doesn't mean blind happiness. Things happen. Don't put your head in the sand and go, don't look up. Oh, it's fine. There's nothing there. Like, don't be that way. But find the good in every situation, because we live in a dual world. There's always an up and a down, a right and a wrong, an in and an out. So if there's a bad, there's 100% there's a good. You just have to look and find it. So just put your attention and focus on that like a laser beam and do it as much as you can. And you're going to grow that pathway in your brain so you'll have more of it. And it may take a while because you've been in your state for a while. It may take a while, but that will be the way you lead yourself out. And then the second thing is, the third thing is journaling. Now, you may have heard in the past, do 3 pages of stream of consciousness. It came from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. So I always did that, but it wasn't until I had this added tip from Ray Indigo, who's my yogi. And what she taught me was do it with the intention of, what am I unwilling to look at? Because whatever you're unwilling to look at is driving your car and you may not know it. So if you've ever sabotaged yourself, or you're like, why am I doing that? Why am I behaving irrationally? And even if you're a happy person, but you have like these triggers on a jukebox that if somebody hits it, you're going to like go off. So do 3 pages every day. Just do it every day for a week, but do 3 pages and say, what am I unwilling to see? And it could be, you even write, I hate Christiana for making me do this. I got big shoulders. Go ahead. No problem. But I can't believe it. She's my, you can vent whatever you want. But what am I unwilling to see? And what will happen is, if you actually stick with this and you do this, there's something about it, that there's these hidden things in our subconscious. It will actually come to the surface. And once you notice it and you spot it, it no longer has the same power. It only exists in darkness. Once you bring the light to it, it automatically shifts its nature and you're not affected in the same way. But you have to be willing to stick with it, because it's squirrely. It'll try to like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I suddenly need a cup of coffee right now, or, oh, let me answer that phone. Remove all distractions and write 3 pages. What am I unwilling to see? Or if you're thinking about, think about something where maybe you got a great lead for your business, but for some reason you didn't follow up. Okay, that's a hidden something blocking you. Just sit down and go, why didn't I follow up? What am I unwilling to look at? And just 3 pages. It could be like, I lost my shoe when I was 5 years old. You just don't know, right? And it doesn't matter what comes up, but just be willing to go on an exploration. Because here's the challenge that I have with the way things are taught today. Everybody tells you what to think. The best teacher will show you where to look and let you understand it for yourself. Because if I tell you the answer, it'll come and go and you'll think you know it, but you're not going to embody the work. But if you discover it for yourself, like somebody said to you, happiness or unhappy, choose. And you said, I choose happy, but you had to practice at it. It didn't come right away, right? You had to work up, you had to build that pathway in your brain. Sure. So even with dementia, you're still on the happy track. You built it. So you have like the Grand Canyon of happy in that brain of yours. But it's true. You have like the Grand Canyon of happy in the brain of yours. So even though you have something that is
negative,
well, yeah, like isn't super positive, like you're missing pieces of your life, you still have the happy train. Like you'd still have happiness no matter what. That's your set point, right?
And even if there are things you can't do, and I'm running into some of that right now, I say to myself, yes, you can do that, but you're just going to have to take it easy and do it slowly. You build it up.
Or do it differently.
Well, I'm having a little trouble walking now, and it's because I haven't walked for some time.
Since January 16th.
Yeah. And so here I am not walking. And so I've got to build up my ability to walk. And besides that, I was asked to dance with one of the guys. And he's going, and I'm trying to go, but I can't do it.
And he says, yeah, I realized she didn't have great balance. So we slow dance so she could hang on. The people that work there are absolutely lovely. And they don't actually ever see your limitations. They're always like willing to play and to see where you'll go. But like you said, you haven't been really walking since January 16th. No. Like COVID knocked out that part of your brain where you actually remember how to walk.
And the thing is that I haven't had any children that I had to walk with because you weren't there.
Yeah.
And Charlie is neither of you are children.
No,
I mean,
we're adults.
you're children, but you're adult children.
Yeah.
And so I just never had a chance to build it up. And so then I'm saying to myself today, I've got to get out there. Well, I'm getting a walker. And so what I'm going to do is every day I'm going to take it out and walk just
A little bit.
yeah. And until I get used to it again.
Yeah, because you have to build up the stamina in your legs.
Right.
But the hour of exercise that she kind of sneered at for twice a day that she's doing, she laughs. She laughs after she sneers. But you've been doing that. And now you actually have the stamina to get up, move yourself from this chair to that chair. Like you're building a lot more stamina. You can like lift your legs and move things. So it's getting that exercise on a regular basis and being very active has been incredible for you.
Well, it's helped me a lot. And doing these exercises, I was not terribly excited about it, but I've been doing it for probably.
You've been there almost a month. You moved in April 1st.
And gee, it's not too bad. And I'm thinking about getting up and walking now. Life is short. You can't lose something like walking and be happy.
But you did.
Yeah, but I'm planning on getting it back so
this is a perfect example. It's not like she's rosy all the time. Like she's in a wheelchair, but what's interesting is they don't push her anywhere. She has to figure out how to get to, she has to roll herself. She had no ability or no strength to roll herself anywhere. So they helped her a little bit for the first couple of days. And that when she figured out where she was going, they make her do it herself. Like, get yourself there. We're not going to enable you.
And then I would, walk it or push and walk. And not fun at all. My arms would ache. My feet would hurt.
But now you actually are in a position where you could use a walker, you're starting that.
Yes.
But again, do you see, it's like, it's not always rosy, but again, you always have a choice to be happy. And we're just getting to the end of wrapping up the show. So I want to go over it one more time. So not yet. Make sure that you use these tools. They're amazing. They can do it. I want to thank my mother for being in the studio today. I love you. I'm so grateful for you.
You too.
Oh, thank you so much. And I really appreciate all your support here for Clarity Corner. I want to thank a big thank you to Maureen Famiano for helping me with getting started on the radio and figuring out how to do all this stuff and teaching and learning the skills for media. And then also a big shout out to my sponsor, Jaggers Keen, my favorite doctor. He's amazing. Anything from slips and falls and broken bones, he's got you covered. And he will give you concierge service at no extra cost. So there you go. Guys, I'm going to be transitioning on a podcast. Make sure you follow me at claritymapping.com, or you can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/the clarity strategist. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
WTAN, Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF, Dade City,
FM 102.3,
WZHR, Zephyr Hills,
FM 104.3.
Listen.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Dell Small Business.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. Dr. Anthony Fauci is clearing up his recent comments on the pandemic. Here's CBS's Steve Futterman.
This is the comment on the PBS NewsHour initially made by Dr. Anthony Fauci.
We are certainly right now in this country out of the pandemic phase.
But now he is clarifying his comments. He says the pandemic in the U.S. isn't over, but is in a more controlled stage. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki also trying to clarify.
What Dr. Fauci was saying is that we are in a different phase of this pandemic, and that's absolutely true.
COVID deaths are down. Steve Futterman, CBS News.
The release of Trevor Reed is little consolation for the family of a former Marine from Michigan who's still